Hey guys, before we start, please check out our membership program if you want to support the channel and our Discord in the description. I go a little bit extreme with the concepts in this video. I don't think it would play out like this in canon, but I wanted to implement some Legends content in here, so I would love your feedback. Padme gave birth to Luke and Leia following Anakin's fall to the dark side. The children were split at birth by Yoda and Obi-Wan, and were deemed as the future hope for the Jedi and the galaxy. They lived up to this by defeating the Empire in 4 ABY. However, how would the story have played out if Luke and Leia were never born? What would Yoda and Obi-Wan do? Let's get into that in this video. The Republic and Jedi Order has fallen, the shadow of the Empire rising to take its place. Obi-Wan is standing opposite Padme's body as she begins labor. However, there are unforeseen problems. Her heartbeat flatlines, and the Jedi watch in disbelief. The medical droids attempt to revive her but are unsuccessful. They go to remove the babies, but they are too late. Padme and her children didn't survive. Obi-Wan curses under his breath. He's lost everything in the last 48 hours. Yoda, Bail, and Obi-Wan discuss what to do next. The Jedi are now enemies of the Empire and are continuing to be hunted down. The Jedi Purge has significantly reduced the Order's numbers, but Obi-Wan and Yoda agree that the only move forward is to gather remaining Jedi to try and maintain their numbers. Only then can they fight the Sith back. They spend the next 5 years searching for and gathering surviving Jedi. Bail uses his political connections to help with this. He personally met with Ahsoka Tano at Padme Amidala's funeral and sent her to Obi-Wan, whom she was glad to hear survived. Finding surviving Jedi proved to be more difficult than they expected. The Empire was ruling with an iron fist, as well as the Inquisitors beating them to surviving Jedi. Yoda met up with Quinlan Vos on Mapuzo and used the path's safe house here to find the Padawan Cal Kestis. Obi-Wan caught hints of rebel activity on Mon Cala and found Master Ferren Barr and convinced him to join the remaining Jedi and talked of hope for the Jedi Order. This was all the Jedi that could be found. The Inquisitor program was ruthless and had already killed many of the surviving Jedi, including Eth Koth. The 6 surviving Jedi decided to make their base on Tython, one of the founding worlds of the Jedi Order. They did this for 2 reasons: to connect back with the roots of the Jedi Order, but also because there were rumors that the planet possessed troves of holocrons and data cards filled with ancient Jedi wisdom from throughout the ages, and that those who discovered it could gain access to an unmatched power. Yoda and Bail agree that it's best if the Order stays out of the galaxy's affairs for the time being. They need to let the Empire begin its reign to cause distaste and hate towards them. Only then can the seeds of rebellion begin to grow. They discuss what to do next. They have 4 Jedi Masters, a Padawan, and Ahsoka. They need to continue their search for surviving Jedi, but the Inquisitors are preventing that from happening, so they come to a single conclusion: they must take out all of the Inquisitors. They devise a plan for this, and decide upon attacking their base directly on Mustafar. Cal Kestis will be left behind on Tython for now, just in case something goes wrong. It's been a year after Order 66 when the Jedi attack. There are 11 Inquisitors on the planet at the time, with only a few off-world. The Jedi easily clean up the Inquisitors that are no match for the Masters. When the Grand Inquisitor is on his knees, he tells the Jedi that Vader will be there soon, before he collapses to his death. Hearing Vader's name shocks Obi-Wan because he thought he died in their duel, but he was mistaken. The Jedi don't wait to find out and escape before his arrival. The Emperor and Vader discuss the recent Jedi activity on Mustafar and fear the resurrection of the Jedi Order. They need something to take the place of the Inquisitor program, and Sidious mentions Dr. Silo's cybernetic creations, which he's been having commissioned in the background to potentially replace Vader. Vader is given charge of this operation. There is a reduction in Inquisitor activity over the following year. Padawan Cal Kestis' training has bloomed significantly over the last year. The next 10 years are fairly uneventful. They continue to search for surviving Jedi, but aren't very unsuccessful. Most surviving Jedi have already been killed, or they're hidden so well that neither the Jedi or Sith could find them. Rebel activity begins to increase significantly, but the Empire is slowly ramping up its resistance. They've been exploring Tython a lot, but there's a lot of surface to cover. They discover a hidden ancient Jedi temple that was abandoned over 20,000 years earlier. However, there was evidence that the temple had been inhabited after that. They make their way through the temple in search of knowledge and stumble upon a room of holocrons and datasheets. The holocrons date to around 3600 BBY and were last accessed by Revan. The Jedi Masters are shocked. They all recognize the name Revan. Revan was the Jedi that defeated Darth Malak and destroyed the Star Forge. They begin meditating and studying the scrolls, and Obi-Wan finds some key knowledge. He tells them what Revan wrote, that a second Star Forge was created by the Rakatan Empire and hidden by himself after Malak's defeat. It also states its location, and Revan knew that if the Jedi were reading his holocrons in this temple on Tython, that they must be desperate. The Star Forge was a shipyard created by the Rakatan Empire and had the power to create the most powerful army of all time. The Jedi are overwhelmed by Revan's knowledge. Now they have a means to fight back. All they need is to find the Star Forge and an army is theirs. The second Star Forge is hidden in the unknown regions in the lost hyperspace line from Rakatan Prime. Obi-Wan and Quinlan Vos are sent to confirm its resistance, whilst Yoda and Obi-Wan follow another lead to a surviving Jedi. They find Kanan Jarrus, formerly known as Caleb Doom on Lothal, with his new apprentice Ezra Bridger. They feel them calling out to the remaining Jedi when they entered the temple on the planet. They explain to them how they have a collective of remaining Jedi trying to restore the order, and they agree it's best to join them. They reluctantly leave their Ghost Rebel cell, but it won't be for long. Obi-Wan and Quinlan Vos confirm the existence of a second Star Forge, but leave it where it is for now. They know the risks of the Star Forge. It draws upon the negative emotions of a person and ultimately can bring out the dark side within the user. There is the risk of a user being corrupted to the dark side, so this needs to be taken into account. It's 3 BBY, and the rebellion is coming together. Bail Organa contacts Yoda for the first time in years. Bail thinks it's time for the Jedi to fully commit and back the rebel cause. He debriefs them on how the separate factions of the rebellion are coming together and that they are planning on setting up their base on Dantooine. However, the Rebel Alliance lacks numbers, ships, and overall resources. Yoda provides Bail a solution and tells him about the Star Forge. Bail is completely taken aback at this unexpected revelation and feels a new hope for the rebellion. A year goes by and the rebel base is set up on Dantooine. The Star Forge is hidden behind and orbits the main moon of the planet. It stays on the dark side of the moon, so it's hidden from the Empire. They use it to help set up the rebel base, producing buildings, droids, and overall infrastructure. Without the Star Forge, this would have taken a decade to build. They have thousands of ships and have their own droid army. The backing of the Rebel Alliance far exceeds expectations. After the Star Forge has been used to help the Rebel Alliance, they have begun winning more battles around the galaxy, and this has been noticed by the public. Hope that the rebellion may be successful in defeating the Empire has increased the number of people defecting and helping the rebels. However, the only drawback of the Star Forge is the person using it. It was concluded that Master Yoda would have the best resistance to the dark side. He has faced his inner darkness and demons many times and conquered them. However, the more he uses the Star Forge, the greater his inner darkness becomes. The rebellion officially declares war on the Empire, and for the next 2 years there are countless battles around the galaxy. The outcome is fairly even, but a rebel victory means more than an imperial victory. The Jedi assist in this. Master Obi-Wan, Quinlan Vos, as well as Cal Kestis and Kanan Jarrus have been pivotal in this, leading many battles. Kanan Jarrus and Ezra Bridger reconnect with the Ghost Squadron and together lead a feared cell. Master Ferren Barr sadly was defeated in combat by Vader himself. Sidious and Vader have become significantly more aware of the rebellion. They are afraid they will discover the Death Star and destroy it before completion. When Vader captured Ferren Barr, however, he managed to torture the location of the rebel base out of one of their commanders. Vader informs Sidious of this, and they agree it's time to test the might of their new battle station. They travel in hyperspace towards Dantooine, but there is significant rebel blockade. They have hundreds of ships surrounding the planet, blocking any unwanted ship from getting in. Because of this, the Death Star had to exit hyperspace out of range of the planet, which preemptively exposed them. The Rebel command notices a massive object coming out of hyperspace, and when it eventually exits, everyone stares upon in utter disbelief. No one knew of the Death Star's existence. The Jedi can sense the dark side within the Death Star and order all available troops to prepare for combat. The Empire has brought all their might with them, but the Rebel fleet, thanks to the Star Forge, is just as big as theirs. The Rebels try to delay the Death Star from getting too close, but the Imperial forces are ultimately very strong. Many ships on both sides are destroyed, and the Death Star continues to get closer and closer. The Jedi attempt to get on the Death Star, but cannot get close enough. Quinlan Voss's ship even gets shot down by the Death Star's own defenses. The Rebels begin to panic, but they are too late. The Death Star is in range and fires upon Dantooine, completely destroying the planet. This laser beam also takes out half of the Rebel fleet, including the entire Ghost Squadron. Yoda can sense this from the Star Forge and begins mass producing droid-controlled ships, and sends them straight towards the Death Star. The remaining ships of the Rebel fleet are overwhelmed by Imperial forces and shot down. Obi-Wan Kenobi, not known for his flying skills, is surrounded by TIE fighters and shot and killed. The Emperor is completely confused by how the rebellion has this many ships hidden on the small moon, but he senses the presence of the dark side. They load up the Death Star and fire upon and destroy the moon, exposing the Star Forge behind it. The Rebel fleet is now completely destroyed. All that remains are a few ships and the Star Forge with Yoda inside. The Emperor cannot believe what he's looking at, and wouldn't mistake the Star Forge. They get closer and closer, destroying all ships that come out of it. They use a gravity field to bring the Star Forge inside their hangar bay. Sidious and Vader themselves investigate it to find an exhausted Yoda inside. His resistance to the dark side, as well as producing all the Rebel ships, has completely fatigued him. He couldn't get up even if he wanted to. Sidious raises his hands and mocks the Jedi Master before executing him with Sith lightning. The Empire's future is now assured. With the power of the Star Forge, no one can oppose them. The Rebel Alliance has utterly been destroyed and all hope in the galaxy is lost. The Empire will remain superior. Thanks for watching, guys. This was a more extreme video of mine. I thought that without Luke and Leia, the Jedi and Rebellion wouldn't be successful and ultimately the Empire would prevail. Yoda even says that in episode 6 that if Luke doesn't succeed, then there is another hope in Leia, so there were only 2 hopes for the galaxy. The Rebel Alliance's downfall here is that they didn't learn of the Death Star and the Empire found their base before they could counterattack. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and let me know what video you want to be next. What if Darth Maul was a Jedi, or what if the Grand Inquisitor found Obi-Wan on Tatooine?